Hello, this is a video response to Tsubo57's open question, does the system matter for tabletop and role-playing games? Firstly, I have to put out this disclaimer. I have I have an extraordinarily small amount of experience with role-playing games. I've been in two parties, one group who was it was just a one-shot game of D&D 3.5. Here's your character. We all died. It was cool. Yeah, I was interested, but I wasn't that interested. And then my first real party, which was at the time we were playing the new, just came out 4th edition, so I had to learn all that. And with that party, I got through 2 characters with that party, by the way. And with that party, I was able to run a Call of Cthulhu game, a one-shot. Didn't even get to finish it. Time ran out. Oh well. And that's my experience with it all. So I can't tell you to take my advice with a grain of salt. What I can tell you is to take that grain of salt, smash it on the table, just blow it away, and whatever pieces got stuck to the table that still remain, you can take that. That's how much it's really worth. But I'm going to lay it out for you anyway. So here it is. Does the system matter? I feel that the question that should be asked, the better question should be asked is, what do I wish to achieve? Because in the end, not necessarily the system matters. Not entirely. You could just, it really ultimately depends on a number of conditions. But importantly, what do you wish to achieve with your group? That's the most important. If your group just does not have the mental capacity or just relatively care to be investigators, to ask questions without bashing people in the skull with their +2 axe, if they can't do anything beyond loot and kill, there's no point in really pushing them. Trying to achieve in a system that's so much more complex than say a level-based system. That's not to say there's no complexity with a level-based system. You can have an immense amount of complexity with something like D20. Look at 3.5. Jeez. As a game designer, which has always been my passion and my interest, I've always been fascinated by role-playing games, both computer and tabletop. Especially tabletops nowadays, just for their use of well, since you're not relying on a computer, you're not relying on something calculating for you. You have to sort it out from there, and you're free with the abstraction. You're free to abstract and to ponder and be more creative, not just as the GM, but as a group. Now that input varies depending on the system itself and how much you're willing to adhere to that system. So once again, does the system matter? Kind of. Like I said, totally depends on what you wish to achieve. Do you want a super historical setting? Do you want a cyberpunk setting? Do you want a dystopia? Do you want to play a horror game? And in that horror game, do you want to be the horrors, or do you want to be the victims? Or do you just want to say, I want it all. Alright? I want clone Hitler ninjas battling it out with cyborg gorillas in some wicked post-apocalyptic cyberpunk-esque setting. Depends on what system you want. It really depends on what you wish to achieve. What's the mood? What's the flavor? And then what you should really tailor the system you're going to use to that. Now, there are a lot of people I've found in the RPG community who do favor one system predominantly over others, and they'll build around that one system. I gotta say, as a fan of Call of Cthulhu, I like the system a lot better, predominantly because I like the notion of being a frail individual, and I always like that a lot, that notion, being the heroic, powerful fighter while alluring, and I can understand the appeal. While alluring, of course, just seems kind of old, seems dated, seems very, not that anything wrong with old, of course. So that wouldn't be the appropriate word. It just doesn't strike the appeal with me. Same thing with fantasy. I just don't get it. I'm not into it. I'm science fiction more than fantasy. So something like D&D never really clicked with me, predominantly because it's a level-based system. And I just, abstractly, what does it mean to be a level 25 rogue or a level 8 bookkeeper? What does that mean? Well, compare the two. What is a level 8 bookkeeper compared to a level 8 wizard compared to a level 8 hedgehog? What does that mean? It doesn't sound like much. That's why I like skill-based systems, like a D100 system in Call of Cthulhu for the basic role-playing system. I like that a lot, just because the abstraction isn't too hard to grasp when you have a skill-based system, especially when it comes down to 100%. It seems very simple for the average user to comprehend. I have a 57% skill chance in first aid, when essentially I have a more than 50%. I have more than 50% chance of succeeding in my medical use or knowledge, whereas a +1 in medical, I got a 3 in medicine. No, it just seems kind of detached. But it depends what you wish to achieve. You know, I can see a superhero game in a D20 level-based system. I have had a really hard time grasping it too much in a BRP system. That's not to say you can't, but just I think one would work better than the other. Just as I can't find myself really believing you can be a weak, frail human being in a D&D setting, even if you're a level 1 commoner. It just doesn't seem like you would have much of options. In the end, it always does come down to the GM, or the DM, however they wish to be affiliated as. How they wish to house rule, run the system for their players. They have to tailor it to their players. Let's face it, you're going to try and run a Call of Cthulhu game with a bunch of people who, in all of your D&D games, all they achieved is loot, kill, repeat. They're not going to be investigators. They're going to get mad when they get shot up and killed by the police when they break the law. That's just the nature of the beast. That's just the mentality of an individual. Not everybody wants to play. Not everybody thinks the same way. Not everyone wants to play the same game. So you've got to kind of work with temperaments. You got to be a good leader. It's very tricky, and it's more of a skill you have to learn. Like everything, I believe it's all about the amount of time you put in and the effort you're willing to place into learning how to be a better GM and DM, and that takes time and an openness to accept failure and learn from your mistakes. So I'm going to end it here, just with that. And peace.